Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, unlike the St. Louis Cardinals, never even showed the hope of being good. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
Never even showed. It's clunky.
If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. And thank you to whoever you are, wherever you are, that submitted that right before we went live. And I said, I got to throw this one in. It does sort of feel like a double negative. Never
Clunky
even.
ass.
Clunky ass. Never even. What is it? Never even, unlike the St. Louis Cardinals, never even showed the hope of being good. I think I think it's correct. Syntax.
I'm not saying it's. I'm just saying it sucks. I'm coming at
we've never really showed a glimmer of hope of being good.
No, I get what it's saying. I'm not even disagreeing with it. It's just it's hard to say, and therefore I feel like throwing some shade at somebody who's throwing some shade at me, Nate. I'm just lashing out. I'm backed into a corner. What am I going to do?
We have discussed being more aggressive at our listeners when they participate in the game that we've requested, where they send us opening bits making fun of us. So
well, you do take all the fun out of it with your little commentary you placed on it right there. So. Okay, fine. Good job. Thanks for participating.
I know I like it. I think that whoever this person is a jerk. There. How does that feel?
Yeah.
It does speak to the broader vibe that is starting to permeate the Cardinals after this last couple weeks, but we'll get to that.
Reject that vibe.
Yeah, I reject that vibe too.
Yeah.
We got a pack show. We always got a pack show over here at Talking About Birds HQ, but of course we have to start with recapping our weekend. We just spent yet another weekend together. You showed up at my house at about 11:30 p.m. on Friday night, and I never even saw you Sunday morning because you got out there as quickly as you could. Real sneaky like. Mm-hmm. We all enjoyed it. Just a pool of melted butter in your wake. And
is that like I secrete it, or I was eating in bed, or
a little
like a human slug?
It's kind of
like a butter slug.
Yeah, you're a butter slug.
Butter slug. Butter slug is cool, actually. I like that.
What's up, butter slug?
Yeah, be butter slug. I'm cool with that.
Oh no! From ham bone to butter slug. Oh, actually, I wanted to. So I really doubt you will have noticed this, but maybe you have. So Hambone here and I share a TikTok account for the show, right? So we post videos.
You should check it out.
Yeah. We post videos, clips from the episodes onto TikTok. We don't really do much other content, but every once in a while.
We should have done some. Well, anyways, Bloggers Day content, but it's too late for that now.
Too late for that. And they also said no video for that thing. So, we could have done some stealth.
I think people want to see us slurping down some slick sticks.
God damn it.
Nady and the butter slugs.
Nady and the butter slugs and our slick sticks. Oh, God. The language of this show is just getting worse and worse. What have we done to ourselves, Hambone? So anyway, Hambone and I both have we share a TikTok account. Neither of us are big like viewers though, I personally don't spend a lot of time watching TikTok. I don't think you do, but I know that if either of us do, we're using the same account, which is funny because there's a little bit of a push-pull on like what the algorithm is feeding, because you like to watch different things that I do. Mostly big beefy men seems to be your preference.
Yeah, who doesn't like a jacked dad?
There are a lot of I saw this guy, I don't even know what his name is. The most jacked person I've ever seen was on came up through TikTok when I was on it the other day. But anyway, there's also been a trickling in of content of people using their hands on their knees, their hips, their thighs, and with little spoons and things like that to create music, otherwise known as hamboning.
Oh,
Are you
hambone,
familiar?
hambone. I've heard. Yes,
Yeah.
I have heard of this.
Yeah, hamboning is that sort of like, it's often
Yeah.
like sort of old timey, you know, country sort of thing, right?
Sure.
And so I guess my question for you is, are you going on to TikTok and searching for hambone material, or is this something that the algorithm has maybe heard our own content where I call you hambone and is now generating hambone content for us?
Unfortunately, I am not searching out hamboning videos on my own. I think the only thing that makes sense is that there are so little references for people being called hambone or people just saying the word hambone as much as you say the word hambone or words hambone. And it is doing that. And it does not surprise me that there is a layer of or a section of TikTok that is dedicated to the art of hamboning. How I feel about all that is uneasy and unsure. And this just, I think, any of the time I did spend on TikTok, even looking at our own content's performance, is maybe over now that I know that that is out there.
Hambone TikTok is big. Hambone, it's getting a lot of likes. I'm just saying, if you're looking for another avenue, another career path, hambone's hambone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's huge money in that. I have personal interest in it. It sounds great, and I appreciate you beginning the rest of my life.
Yeah. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Now you know about hambone TikTok.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's move on. So we spent the weekend, at least the Saturday afternoon into the evening at Busch Stadium, where we were wined and dined by the Cardinals.
And 69.
It's fine dined at 69 by the by the St. Louis Cardinals PR staff. Shout out to Carson, great dude. Facilitates a lot of this and is there the whole time. You know that we've talked about it for years now. We've been talking about it leading up to this, but basically the way it works is the Cardinals invite a bunch of people from the Cardinal podcast and blogger community. I don't really know how they make their selection. We've been a part of it for a while now, which has been cool. But a lot of the other bigger podcasts and blogs and whatnot are all there. It's probably, and everyone gets a +1, which is also very nice. So I don't know. There's probably 25 people there, maybe around 10 or so, like podcasts and blogs, maybe more. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Represented, and then a bunch of +1s. We brought associate sound producer Chris, the guy who makes all the music for the show, and your brother Jake, who was really the star of the question block, which we'll get to here in a moment. But they basically get us a private suite up in the Redbird Legend Club, with an open bar and all the generic ballpark food you could want.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And then Chaim Bloom came and spent 45 minutes with us.
I think he probably answered questions for 45-ish minutes and then hung around the box for a couple of innings.
Yeah, he did. I actually didn't even realize. I thought he walked right out of there. Mozeliak,
I would have.
Yeah, Mozeliak always, again, who was gracious with his time and never seemed like he didn't want to be there. But he did, he booked it when it was done.
Yeah, we had to stop him for a picture one year, and I was like, okay,
yeah.
Mo.
He goes, this is the last one when we were next to him.
Chill out, pal.
But yeah,
you ain't the Beatles.
Around. Yeah, Chaim hung around and seemed to have really good general conversation with a bunch of people. I know our friend of the show, Jake, talked to him quite casually for quite a while, which was cool. So he definitely seemed to show a real interest. And they pitched this whole thing as an appreciation evening. It's not really like to get hard scoops, although it is cool that we get access to ask Chaim questions directly. But their point is that they believe, or at least they say they believe, that the fan networks are able to essentially provide a more nuanced view of the organization than what the larger media companies are able to do. And they appreciate that, which of course they should be. We basically do free journalism and reporting for them every single week.
Right.
But it's nice that they show the appreciation. I do believe it, and we get a cool night at the ballpark. Cubs Cardinals game Saturday night. Hard to pick a better evening at Busch Stadium. It wasn't a sellout. It hasn't been for a long time, but it was one of the more, if not the most attended game of the year and probably of the last 2 years. And it was quite rowdy, although we were in the in our calm comfort, air-conditioned little box, which I know you were appreciative of because you've become such a weak little baby since you moved to Denver.
Yeah, no pushback for me on that. I don't know how you guys live in that swamp town. It is unbearable.
It was particularly bad. It's funny. This spring has been truly beautiful in St. Louis, and I think this weekend was the first humid weekend, and you were here for that. So
yeah,
you brought the sweat. Old butter slug Hambo just coming in.
I felt like a butter slug, sucking down those ice cold Budweisers and sweating. It was the air conditioning was pleasant. But yeah, I thought it was a great event. I thought that Chaim participated earnestly and thoughtfully in his answers. He was extremely long-winded, which I did not expect. And I say long-winded, he was thoughtful. He was answering the questions as with as much thought process as he could share with us.
Yeah.
He wasn't telling us about active negotiations and specifics with certain players and stuff like that. But I would say he probably answered a third of the amount of questions that we have fired at Mo in the past. And not because he wasn't making himself available, but because he was being so thoughtful with the answer. And I know Jake Wood has thrown up the audio version of the chat. If you want to go listen, if you're a true sicko, you want to go listen to that. He has it on his feed. And as Nate referenced, my little brother, who is a fan of baseball, but different tiers than Nate and I, and probably if you're listening to this show, we had been having an ongoing conversation about whether or not, in our little group of friends, whether or not barbecue sauce belongs on hot dogs. And Jake took it upon himself to ask Chaim his thoughts on if you should have barbecue sauce on hot dogs. And I thought Chaim's answer was perfect. This is America. You can do whatever you want. Personally, it's not for me. I could not, that was the thing I agreed with Chaim on the most. Verbatim, that is how I feel. You shouldn't be doing it. You can do it, but you shouldn't be doing it.
Disagree. Hold on. So he never said you shouldn't be doing it. In fact, he says, if you like it, go for it. Your opinion has been no one should be putting barbecue sauce on a hot dog.
No, this is the hyperbolic twisting of words that Nate likes to do, especially on the show. Remember, Nate is a bully, and he's going to make you think whatever he wants you to think.
Check the
because
tapes.
He's just going to
chud,
power through it. Yeah, check the tape. Let's go to the tapes right now.
All right, let's go. Just like I said. And let's go ahead and let's go take a caller on this one, too. Let's check the lines. All right. Yep. And the caller agreed.
Can we talk about baseball now?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to go on with what Chaim Bloom said. I thought I agree. He was quite verbose. It was very long answers. Good answers generally. Nothing really groundbreaking. I think. We were curious about, you were going to ask about extensions, and you were immediately scooped by a 12-year-old boy who was there. The very first question that Chaim got was essentially the question that you were had pitched on the show, is what's his thought on extensions, and nothing really new. He essentially said,
he had a pretty cagey answer to it.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
It's a two-way street, which is the answer he had given before.
Which is bullshit.
Yeah, well, he got a little deeper with it, saying that basically, like a rookie contract, the risk is all on the player. and a extension, you're now sharing the risk, and so they're seemingly more risk averse as an organization. So you can kind of read between the lines there that the organization doesn't really like making riskier plays when they don't have to, which okay, not how a lot of modern teams are thinking. But he obviously also can't say like, yeah, we're trying to negotiate 3 right now, so it makes sense to just sort of punt it back and say, well, it takes 2 to tango, He had some good answers. The general vibe was, hey, we're kind of competing now. Like, does that change anything? And he basically said no. He said, we're nowhere near what we actually want to be. And so to basically punt our future plans for success right now is just still not on the table, which I think is the right answer. We'll see in a month or more. Again, we'll talk about the state of play here in a moment. But I think it's still the right answer not to suddenly shift gears and try to go all in this year or something like that, because you've had a good first 2 months.
Yep.
Were there other questions that came up that you thought worth discussing, or should we go into the play?
I think really, nothing. Again, they were long and thoughtful answers. It was nice to hear about how he's thinking about the organization, his time with the Cardinals. I guess one thing to note was, I felt like he was in several answers talking about how he is a different person than he was with the Rays and the Red Sox. He's constantly trying to learn and grow. I think we all know that. And I guess another thing that I noticed is that, he is very close to you and I's age.
Mm-hmm.
Mozeliak is a good chunk older than we are. The way that he speaks and thinks about problems, I think, was just very relatable, as opposed to Mo, who I think got into the corporate speak really aggressively, especially when speaking with any member of the media. I think he lightened up a little bit with us sometimes. Yeah. But another funny thing, just for my very personal experience, the first time we went to one of these, and it was Mo, and I'd been watching John Mozeliak be running the Cardinals for however many years at that point. I kind of was like, holy shit, we're like talking to the guy. Like, this is Mo. He's World Series champion, yada, yada, yada. And then when Chaim walked in the room, I kind of felt like, okay, this is just a guy that works here and has a cool job. But I thought that I don't know if you felt anything like that, but I thought that was funny. I think I like mystified Mozeliak back in the day in my mind, and just feel less of that now.
Yeah. I think that's probably too, frankly, just like as wild as it is this is now the, one of several times that we've gotten to interact directly with key members of the St. Louis Cardinal organization because of this dumbass podcast we do. And so it feels a little less like, holy shit, I can't believe we're doing. I mean, it still does, like, to some degree, that this stupid thing that, like, we just talked. I've been calling you butter slug for 15 minutes now, and also got invited by the St. Louis Cardinals to interview the president of baseball operations, so it feels incongruous. Those two things should not overlap, but there's enough sickos like us. Shout out to the listeners, that tune in every week for whatever this is. But I think, we've done it a few times now, so maybe it's just that does diminish
can stay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of like he's just a guy, and Mozeliak comes in his full bow tie and all of that. So
kind of a cartoon character of a man. Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I'll say is, and I don't want to get into the details of the answer, but he was funny sometimes, and he got asked about AI, because you can't not talk about AI right now. And he said, to paraphrase his answer is, I want to have a World Series ring on my hand when I'm a battery for the future AI overlords, or something like that, which was funny. Got a big laugh from the crowd. So he did have a thoughtful answer, I thought, to the question too. But I guess we should get into some of the actual state of play from the last week. So as mentioned in the opening bit, the Cardinals have lost more than they've won for a little while for the last couple weeks now. We record this on Wednesday. The Cardinals have lost 2 of the 3 games against the Rangers, a series that you and I were both pretty bullish on for the Cardinals to do well at. Last night's was a bit of a backbreaker too, as O'Brien had a meltdown in the 9th. But as we stand, the Cardinals are 31-28, sitting in a cool 3rd place in the NL Central. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I think I'm sure that a lot of people are not feeling great about the Cardinals' last 10 plus games or so because they haven't really sequenced super well. But I think that we're seeing a bunch of strong individual performances. We're going to talk about some pitching wins that have happened over this time period. I think that it's just like more of a sequencing issue right now than anything. Like Jordan Walker is taking a step back offensively right now. Although if you look at the under the hood, I'm not all that concerned with it. But you're having some other performances from other people. We're seeing new young players pop up in the big leagues, and we're going to see what they're about. So I think that I'm chalking this up to the Cardinals are probably a little bit better than a 500 team because of their young players ascending. And we're a third of the way through the season. Like, I think it's pretty good first third for what we thought we were walking into.
Yeah.
We'll see what this next third brings up. You'll see if Walker is able to bounce back, to see if Weatherholt is able to keep doing what he's doing. What kind of performance are we going to get out of guys like Sajacy and Velazquez and Victor Scott and some of the guys that aren't driving the team forward right now? It just takes one of those guys figuring out how to play baseball a little bit better. Gorman figuring out his bat a little bit more, for you to feel really good about this team. But every team is going to have a 3-7 run at some point this season. They might have a few. The Cardinals are in the middle of one right now. I am not concerned.
Yeah, I think concerned really comes down to what sort of expectations did you have going into all of this, right? I think we've been, as a show, very optimistic about this season and how good it's been going. But we talk every week about how the Cardinals' run differential is actually not great. They're kind of playing over their expectations right now. They're, as you've been saying, they've been sequencing really, really well and winning a lot of games that no one expected them to win. That almost never lasts an entire season, right? So this was inevitable that we would have some regression, some challenging losses, some bad days offensively. Jordan Walker struck out 7 times in a row in the last 2 games. That's all kind of expected, frankly. And what was unexpected is that the Cardinals were almost 10 games over 500 at one point during this season, right? It's a long ass season. We were talking in the Birdscord. The Cardinals had a better record than this at this time last year. They had a better record than this a month longer than now. It was really until July is when the Cardinals started to fall off last year. And I think across the board right now, if you asked anybody, is this team better than last year? Everyone would say yes, right? But the record actually doesn't reflect that. It's just sort of like the vibes and the youth and the way they've been winning games makes you feel better about it. As well as, and we'll talk about it, maybe Dustin May is real. Maybe, there's a few other things happening that make you think, okay, this team could be good. But still, there's a reason this team coming into the season was projected like 70 wins by most projection systems outside of Zips. So I'm not worried about it because I was never expecting this team to be a high-end playoff contender. But I still think this team has the talent to continue to win games and be interesting all year and maybe back into some sort of wild, I expect they'll be in the wild card picture for most of the season. Now, whether it's the top or the bottom, we'll see.
Yeah. And it's like, it goes without saying, there's we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I think, but I think a lot of people thought that the Giants and the Mets and the Marlins Even Cincinnati is in there. We're probably going to have much better seasons than they've been having so far. The Cardinals are taking advantage of those teams not being producing to the degree that a lot of people thought they were going to be producing. And I think that the reason I don't feel bad about any of this is because we are not relying on a chunk of 30-plus-year-old guys.
Yeah.
We are watching young players with high ceilings figure it out in real time. So, I mean, even if we have another 3-7, 10 games ahead of us right now, at least I know that those at-bats are going to Ivan Herrera and JJ Weatherholt, making them better for some future game, either next year or the year after.
Which was always what we thought this season was going to be.
Yeah.
This like, oh man, they're winning, they're good, they're fun, they have a chance at something interesting this year, has been the revelation over the last month and a half. It has not been the expectation.
And I feel like it's not a crazy, like you see this with rebuilding teams from time to time. Like they start clicking maybe a little faster than you thought. I think the Cardinals, I think that we're in a lucky spot that it really, like, I think we went from at the beginning of this year, even last year, thinking it was going to be a couple of years to, I think that the organization and you and I, and probably a lot of people listening right now are like, well, maybe it's this year, maybe it's next year. Like it's happening very, very quickly. And I think it's going to be extremely dependent on how some of that young pitching that we've acquired kind of matriculates up the org as we keep talking. But I think, I'd rather win games than lose games, but I'm fine.
You and me both, brother. I think it's interesting. I think where I'm at with the Cardinals right now is that like this year they may or may not win. We'll see. If they are willing to spend money, I think we could be a true competitive team in 2027. So, they may not be though. They may want to do another year of let's develop the homegrown and then add on. But we'll see.
I wanted to ask Chaim a question about like essentially the idea of how is it that the Cardinals organization over the past 12 months is thinking about using money to acquire players in a different way than they were in the 20 years previous to that. But I kind of talked myself out of it because I thought he probably wouldn't want to talk about the owners at all.
Yeah.
And then also he doesn't want to dunk on John Mozeliak. So I kind of talked myself back, but that just popped into my head. I kind of wish I should have just asked it.
Wow. Well, we'll try it again in a year, or maybe we can do it at a winter warm-up when he's sitting directly next to the DeWitts. That'll perfect. Go well. All right, let's talk about some of the players. We just, as early as last week, talked about real concern for Masyn Winn. Bat speed down, hard hit down, basically everything you like down, everything you don't like up, except for brilliant defense. That has been the case. We saw last night and even some incredible plays by Masyn Winn. But maybe this last week we're seeing some signs. He got his first dinger since middle of April. Yeah, it was a jack. So what are we seeing out of Masyn Winn right now?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It looks like if you look at the underlying numbers, he's probably getting a little bit lucky right now. I don't really care. His bat speed has ticked up a little bit. It's in the low 70s. We love that. Pretty much you want it to be in between 70, and if you're a freak like Jordan Walker, around 80. But his bat speed has picked up a little bit. I think he seems a little more divisive. That home run, it was an inside pitch that he was somehow able to turn on, and that was several rows deep. So I think just seeing him start to chug along a little bit more is a great sign, but he's finally put up a WRC plus above 100 in a week's time, which just felt like that was so far away. So yeah, I think it's a little of confidence. Like sometimes they talk about like swing intent from like just an eyeball view. He looks a little more aggressive and a little more in command at the plate. And like I said, I think he's probably getting a little bit lucky, but I don't really care about that because the hits are starting to fall. We have, I feel a little more confident in him because I think of him as like, I think of him in his best form or when we've seen him be hot at the big league level as a guy who can spray hits. He can easily hit the ball to the opposite field, rack up some doubles, can put on that A+ swing 10, 15 times a year for a homer and play some of the best shortstop defense I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I also wanted to call out that play that he made Tuesday night against the Rangers, where he ranged very far to his right towards third base, was able to snatch a huge hop, and then did his patented, 95 mile an hour off balance throw where he almost knocks Alec Burleson back into the dugout. So I don't know, maybe there's just a little more confidence all over in Masyn Winn's game. The defense is looking great. I mean, we saw him make a couple of weird errors earlier in the year, and the bat's coming along. So I'm digging it. I'm rocking with it.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, obviously, the defense plays on its own. He certainly fits that role of, wouldn't it be nice if he carried around a 100 WRC plus or higher, obviously, but wouldn't it be nice? But I think regardless, he's a starter anywhere in the league right now with that caliber defense. And it's just, I don't know. It's so much fun to watch, I guess. It
is. Yeah.
From a pure enjoyment standpoint, it's hard to do better than Masyn Winn right now.
It's good for TV.
Yeah. So we also saw Nelson Velazquez, the story of spring training and many episodes of this podcast before he disappeared entirely. But he's back, and he had a home run in his first pitch. How fun was that?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm happy that he got something. I'm happy he got to the bigs and this is happening.
Yeah.
I'm also not to take it away from Nelson Velazquez, the dude, but I'm kind of just happy to see the Cardinals a couple of months into the season manipulating their roster a little bit and making some changes. And I think making changes that make a little more sense for the team right now. I also think the thing that I feel like we kept coming back to talk about Nelson Velazquez is that he's 27, clearly has power. He has power in that bat. You saw that ball that he golfed out to left field the other day, which was a jack, if you happen to miss that, but he hit that ball extremely hard. I do think when you have a year like this, it is important to figure out what a 27-year-old power hitting right-handed sort of outfielder can do. And I like that they are making space for him to do that. Now, the other side of that coin is that outfield production has been rough for a while now. But they are recognizing that. They are making a change. They are doing all of the things that I just said in kind of one fell swoop. He is an interesting. He has interesting parts to his game. He has some pretty uninteresting parts to his game as well. But I love it. And of course, for him to get rewarded so quickly. Seems like he's going to be in the lineup when there's a lefty on the mound and probably your first bench off the bat when a tough lefty comes up.
First bench off the bat.
First bench. Is that what I said?
That is what you said. Can't let you slip that one by.
He is a bench.
He is kind of a bench. So
he's kind of a little guy for a power guy. I like it.
Yeah. Him and Brian Torres seem to be in a bit of a platoon right now. It is. I think the roster management side of it is interesting. We basically saw them run more or less the exact same lineup for the first month and a half of the season, and that was partly because of production is working. Why bother to change it? But it was also because of health. Everyone was basically there every day, so why not play them? But now with Church out, Nootbaar's coming back. We'll talk about that in a minute. Victor Scott not producing. We are starting to see okay, these are the holes, right? I think really now at almost Flag Day, the real marker of the season, you look at your team and you say the Cardinals' problems are center field, left field, and third base. And now we're starting to see that shuffle. Let's bring guys in. Let's move them around. Let's see who actually sticks and potentially fixes that problem. Is it this sort of chunky left fielder, kind of left fielder? Maybe. Is it Torres? Maybe. But at least we're trying. Let's find out, Maybe it's just Nootbaar, and it'll just be Newt in a few days. And I don't know, Torres maybe gets sent back down and Velazquez platoons with him to give him days off his feet. Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. But I imagine one of them is about to lose their spot with Newt coming back.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what makes the most sense. Brian Torres is a left-handed left fielder. Lars Nootbaar is a left-handed left fielder.
Yeah.
Based on just that, it makes sense.
That's what makes me think it'll be Newt and Velazquez.
I think the real question, and I'm sure the Cardinals are mulling this over, is do you think that Brian Torres is providing higher quality at bats than Jose Fermin and or Thomas Sajacy? I think Fermin is probably stuck on the roster because he's out of options.
Yeah.
So if the Cardinals move on from him, they move on from him. But let's stick it to Sajacy specifically. Who would you rather have at bat in a situation off the bench late in game, Sajacy or Brian Torres? I think I would go Brian Torres.
I think so too.
Sajacy gives you a little more defensive utility. I don't know off the top of my head if they're both decent speedsters. I don't know. I think it's probably marginal, and I can't be bothered to look it up right now.
I mean, how could we? Who could know that sort of thing anyway?
Okay, fine. Nate, vamp for a second. I'll look it up. I don't.
In this day and age, we have such little access to information, and it's so hard to find it in a rapid environment. I would not expect you to be able to find this so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sajacy is about 27 feet per second, and oh my God, their speed is almost exactly the same. So 27.5 for Torres and 27.6 for Thomas Sajacy.
Wow. Okay. So Sajacy's faster. Okay. So that's
Sajacy's got him on speed. That's clear. And that's a separator. But I think, again, you assume Newt is going to be starting every day. So then I think you do look at it, through that lens. I also think that you could probably have Torres start in center field more than you would want Sajacy starting in center field.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bummer because Sajacy just hit that home run. I think he's an ultimate vibes guy on the team. Clearly, everybody likes him, and he can play around the infield. But that would probably be my move.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would dig my heels in aggressively if they go the other way either.
There is something to be said for solving or for understanding what you have a little more in some of these older players like a Torres and Velazquez. Torres is 27 also, and Sajacy is 23 or
Torres
20?
is 28. He's about to be 29. He is very close to turning 29. Velazquez is, I'm looking at it right now, 27 and a half.
And what is Sajacy, like 24?
Yeah, he's 24.
Okay. So you feel like, well, he can ride the bus a little bit more. And Torres has had such a hot start to the season. Like, let's see if this is real. And maybe it is, maybe it is one of those 29-year-old breakouts. It happens. It's happened on the Cardinals, where, they don't become superstars, right? But they become actual contributors, 2-3 WAR type players, maybe more if it's a real breakout. It could be that. Like, seems unlikely, but now's the time to find out. This is the team to find out with. And so I like that they're playing them, but I do think this is going to come to an end to some degree here shortly with Nootbaar coming back.
And I do think, like, even though I kind of just argued for Sajacy to not be on the big league roster anymore, I do think that he is a better player than he has been so far.
Yeah.
I think that there's clear defense versatility. He has popped in the minors before. I think there's more power in that bat. And I don't know if it's just like his lack of playing time, his lack of a true position. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't stolen more starts from Nolan Gorman, to be totally honest with you.
Wow.
But he's just, I think it's super difficult to be a 24-year-old who is playing as sparingly as he is.
Yeah, I think so. Let's give another week of Gorman at bats, and we'll take another deep dive on him next week.
Maybe, yeah.
He had a dinger last night.
Which was fun. Oppo Taco, too. That was great. If Nolan Gorman could learn that his power plays to all fields and he could do that in
Yeah.
Busch Stadium at night. Like that is not an easy place to do that.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to the pitching side of the ball here. So last week when we recorded, we kind of had a break in the middle of the episode, came back and talked about Dustin May's huge start against the Brewers, and he's keeping it going. What are you seeing out of May? You want to run through some numbers here?
I mean, it looks like he's found something. Over the past 3 starts, he's thrown 18 innings, and he is striking people out now, Nate. Like, unlike he maybe ever has. I haven't looked at every 3-game sample in his career, but when you look at his career numbers, at the very least, it's pretty exciting. His xERA, expected ERA, over that same time period, those 18 innings, those 3 starts, is 2.13, which is microscopic. He's striking out almost 34% of batters faced over those 3 starts, over 12 K per 9. It is big boy numbers.
Yeah.
And his location metrics for his breaking balls seem to be the indicator of why this has happened. They both his slider and curveball have had significant jumps in the location plus metric, which we highlighted a few weeks ago talking about Michael McGreevy. It's kind of, I've been really obsessed with this stat, and kind of seeing how it's progressing for the Cardinals this year has been interesting. But he's had huge jumps, like 20 points and 30 points on those pitches over this time period. So I think that he is locating those pitches better. I mean, if you just watch it, he's throwing that 4-seam fastball kind of high, even sometimes above the strike zone. And then you throw out of that same arm slot one of those 2 breaking balls, one obviously breaking more than the other, and hitters look bad against it.
Yeah.
It is tough stuff. By the way, he still has one of the most insane sinkers I've ever seen. So, I don't know beyond that what's happening, but he looks good. He looks fluid. The ball, I mean, he throws so hard. It's been really fun to watch. And I feel like he and the Cardinals have turned a corner from a production standpoint.
It's right now, in this very moment, as we record on June 3rd, it's exactly what we were hoping would happen with Dustin May. Now, where this goes, how long this is sustainable, we don't know. That's part of baseball. Is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to continue to locate like this? Can he throw this hard for a full season without breaking? We don't know. But so far, this is looking like a real win for the Cardinals and for Dustin May, who seems like a cool guy, intense, but it's been fun. You and I talked about I think it was last week, like, what do you do with Dustin May? He's on essentially an expiring contract. Now, he technically has a mutual option for like $12 million. But if he pitches even remotely like this for the rest of the season, he's looking at a pretty major payday. And we don't need to redo the whole conversation, but he's been looking so good. It makes me think that he might end up pitching himself out of the price range that the Cardinals would really be looking at for a pitcher right now with this team. And it might end up being back to, they need to trade him because that's going to ultimately get the best return for the Cardinals.
I think that is probably, I would be surprised if Chaim Bloom is not already fielding early calls about teams acquiring Dustin May, asking them about his recent performance, what he's been working on, so on and so forth. I also think, you look at his pitch counts over the season, and he's highest he's gone on the year is 97. Over these 3 games, it's 91 pitches, 87 pitches, 90 pitches. They are clearly, they are trying to keep him healthy. They are trying to keep him effective. Obviously, him looking healthy and effective is good for the Cardinals, good for Dustin May, good for everybody. So it's all smart, but I think that they're using him in a way that makes sense. It's always like, you get attached to these guys so quickly. And like, I kind of hate the idea of the Cardinals bringing in a guy and helping him, reach closer to his potential and then shipping him off. But it is a shrewd, smart baseball move, and lots of teams do this. What would the Rays do in this situation? they'd probably move the guy. What would the Dodgers do in this situation? They'd probably retain him. And I don't think we know how the Cardinals are going to behave at this situation yet, but I think it'll be very telling. And it also probably comes down to the fact, if a team that's desperate for pitching calls you and offers you Mr. or Mrs. High prospect, you probably jump at that and, keep going. And you can always thank Dustin.
Who's this Mrs. High prospect?
Mrs. Meta's playing shortstop.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers, if they're in the same position as the Cardinals somehow, but have the resources, they trade him and then sign him this offseason.
Bring him back, yeah.
Yeah, which is
and I think
theoretically an option.
It's also and again, I'm kind of projecting wildly, but one of the reasons he decided to join with the Cardinals is because starting pitcher health over the last year, which is, knock on wood, has continued. We have not missed a start due to health reasons of our starting staff so far this year. So what are they doing? I don't know. But you could see there's a scenario where I don't have to bend over too far backwards to be like, oh, yeah, he came here, got better, stayed healthy. We traded him. Maybe we bring him back. Maybe it's more than any of us previously thought Dustin May would cost, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, will he be 29 next year with a year with anything like what he's doing right now? If he does a whole healthy year in the price of pitching now, I mean, price of anything. Well, it's what's happening now is he'll probably get a 2-year, $90 million contract next year or something like that.
You think Dustin May is going to get 45 a year?
I'm just saying the way they're going now, where it's
shrinkflation. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm hip.
We used to make things in this country. Okay. All right, let's talk about another success. George Soriano, Hambone. Is he the closer?
Obviously it's easy to say that with the week that Riley O'Brien's had. He's gotten doinked around a little bit too much, and it's really easy to hate on a reliever when they look bad over a week because it always looks so bad. And O'Brien's at the end of the game. It's just very, very visible. But I will say, this guy who I had never heard of has come in and is absolutely disgusting. Have we talked about how he tucks one of his ears into his hat?
No, we have not.
I mean, you gotta like that. You gotta
like that.
The 99, at the top of the zone. And I mean, that changeup is
can't do it. I'm wearing a hat.
You need more hat or more ear, my guy.
I know.
Or less head.
I think the head might be a bit too tall there, Hambone, and not enough space. Yeah.
But his pitch, that changeup, grades out as one of the best in baseball. We've seen the plus stuff. We've seen the slider. The dude's absolutely filthy. We have him for the foreseeable future. He's tamed down his walks that were problems for him earlier in the season and in seasons past. I have a lot of faith in Soriano right now.
I said this before when we talked about him last, and I'll say it again. I think zooming out even above and beyond the player himself, who's been pretty incredible, what a reassuring piece to look at when you wonder about the ability of the new front office. They plucked this guy from the Nationals, what looked like an overpay, which frankly, as far as rankings go, it was. Everyone thought our Slider King was better than their Slider King, and it was a weird deal. And now look at it. So, and pretty cool.
A number I'd like to highlight really quick is the Stuff Plus rating on his changeup from 23 until this year. I'm just going to do it really quick. 2023, it had a 92 rating. This is 100 being average. It had a 92 rating. In 2024, a 92 rating. 25, a 104 rating. Nice improvement. So far in 2026, a 116. That above average. So not only did the Cardinals identify somebody that brought him in, they liked his stuff, he has either decided to, or the Cardinals have helped or instructed him, or if they worked together somehow to make his stuff even better. And I think that is super exciting. Not only finding guys that can do things, but then improving upon that skill set is what the best teams in baseball do. And that's very cool.
Yeah, you want to be the type of team that when your player gets acquired by that team, you're like, shit, what do we miss? You know, we do that with the Dodgers. We do that with the Rays. It's like every time these teams acquire someone, you're like, the Brewers.
Yep.
Do it.
Andrew Vaughn will just forever make me so angry.
Well, now Kyle Harrison.
He had 12 strikeouts in like 5 1/3 innings yesterday.
Yeah, he looks like one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. I mean, he was a very high regarded prospect, and then just
like 3 organizations ago.
Yeah, has bounced around, lands with the Brewers, and now he's right behind Mozeliak, making their stupid team look stupid good. So Cardinals used to be that way, right? We go back to the Dave Duncan era, the late Tony La Russa era. That was they called it the Cardinal Devil Magic, you know, and it was mostly finding old dudes who come in and give us better serviceable outcomes than anyone expected. So if the new Cardinals can do what these other teams are doing, which is finding the young guys who are actually good, it's much more valuable than getting an extra season out of John Lackey or whatever it might be.
John Lackey year was great, though.
It was great.
That was a good time.
League minimum, too.
Yeah.
Because I care a lot about how much Bill DeWitt has, how much money he has.
That's the most important part.
Well, on top of that, so speaking of another pitcher, the Cardinals went out and got Hunter Dobbins back from injury, starting to get back into the game. We saw him with a reminder to people who don't follow every day how the other way you can earn a save, which is pitching 3 or more innings at the end of the game while carrying a lead. We saw him come in and surprise do 4 innings. What'd you think on Hunter Dobbins?
Really, really happy with everything. I mean, the fastball is legit. I think sinker, slider, curve all look great. I think he clearly has the stuff to be a major league starter. But to see him come out, the Cardinals only used 2 pitchers in that game. He throws 61 pitches. He gives up 1 run, that homer, the first batter he faces, and then locks it down. I like this idea for giving the bullpen a break. I like this idea of just getting a guy who you think is a future part of your team into games and situations that make sense for him. I think that, 61 pitches is probably not as much as you would want from your starter. But a guy who's coming back to being healthy recently, a guy who you think has the stuff to pitch in the major leagues, and being creative and finding a way to get him those opportunities. I love everything about it. I think it's pretty clear that if one of our pitchers ever do get injured, which just seems like is not on the menu right now, but if that ever does happen, Dobbins is going to pop up and probably take that start going forward. But I love it. Like I said, the creativity, the utilization, all of it, just great.
Yeah. I imagine he's going to be in the rotation sooner rather than later, and I'm excited. It's just fun to see a new pitcher too.
Especially one that sits like 97. Like that's just some pure gas. I love it.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So we've been talking about the strikeout percentage, the K percentage from this team for a while now, for years, frankly. Dustin May, Dobbins, some of these other guys. Are we seeing a switch here, Hamba? Are we finally seeing the team catch up with the rest of the league?
I don't know, but this is the first time we have been able to say this on the podcast, maybe since we've started the podcast, Nate. The Cardinals, the first up until May, the beginning of last month, they were 30th in MLB in strikeout percentage. Over the entire month of May and the first couple of games in June, they have been 13th in MLB. They have jumped up 17 spots, Nathan.
Pretty good. I mean, there was nowhere to go but up, but that's a big
There was
jump.
nowhere to go but up. But isn't that stunning? Are you shocked? I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, it's like,
and I'm watching every game, and I was still surprised by that. Yeah.
Well, it's Libertor too, right? So it's Libby, May. Is this just starters or is this bullpen too?
No, this is entire staff.
Okay. So Libby, May, Soriano, JoJo's been on fire.
Yeah, JoJo's been aces.
Yeah. So I guess it doesn't. You just need a few guys striking people out to be middle. But this is them making it into the middle of the pack, basically.
Yeah. But that for us, that's huge.
It is huge. It is huge. That's funny.
So I'm happy to be here. If you want to be annoyed about something, I just thought this was interesting. Over the same time, the Brewers have had a 28% strikeout rate. They are striking out as a team over a quarter of all batters faced. They are the best in baseball at that right now. So if you want to be mad about something, there you go.
Well, we just talked about it. Stupid Mozeliak, who I'm increasingly believing what you've been saying, which is that dude's arm is going to explode.
It's going to explode, and I'm not going to be happy about it, but it's going to happen. You can't do that.
You can't do that.
It's against the rules of life.
This is what we do now. That's the rule.
This is the goal now.
Now we're just doing someone else's bit. Okay. How do you want it? We got there's been a number of actions over the last week on the team roster movements.
I'll just bang through these and then we could talk about Jimmy for a quick second.
Okay.
Push Hard has been DFA'd. See ya. Jimmy Crooks got recalled from the minors. Seems to be our starting catcher now. We already talked about Nelson Velazquez is back or is on the Cardinals team. Joel Pozo is optioned to the minors, as is Cesar Prieto. I don't think any of those moves are surprising, other than the fact that they actually made the move to get Pozo back down to the minors. And Jimmy Crooks, like I said, according to Mr. Marmol and Mr. Bloom, appears to be the primary catcher going forward. I am obviously excited about this move.
Yep.
I think he's looked good behind the plate so far. And I'm
had
just
a couple
waiting
hits
for him to pop a couple of homers, which I think are going to come here very soon. But very pleased with the move. Something that Chaim mentioned when we were talking to him is that Pedro Pages has only been nothing but like a super pro about the idea of him being the third string catcher on a team with three catchers. And it sounds like we're going to keep with Ivan catching a couple of times a week. So I'm quite pleased with this. What I thought was really interesting is that Jimmy Crooks got a turn at DH. Bless you, Nate.
Thank you. I don't know if that would have been picked up in the microphone, but thank you.
Got a turn at DH, which I thought was cool just to see them kind of value his bat in that way. But pretty interesting news.
Yeah, I also excited. We've been talking about Pedro Pages is exactly what you want as a backup catcher at the major league level. Really no criticism about him in that role. But he had not been that. He'd been the starter for the St. Louis Cardinals. And so a lot of us had been saying, when's the time to transition to Crooks or even, are we just waiting for Bernal at this point? Like, what is the plan here? And so it's fun and it's exciting to see Crooks come up and be, given this opportunity. I think now we find ourselves in a weird spot where Pages is arguably in the worst position he could be in, which is backup catcher and bench bat, which not really ideal for his profile. I mean, I know he can get behind one every once in a while, which is a archetype of a bench bat, but he doesn't do it at such a prolific degree that you really feel like, oh, well, he'll give you a pinch hit home run every 5 to 10 times. Like, I don't really feel that way. It's like he might do it every 20 times, otherwise he's going to strike out or, again, there's worse offensive players than him, but so now we're in the Pozo situation. It's like, well, what is Pages actually doing on this roster?
I will say, if I had to pick a backup catcher, I think I would rather have somebody who leans more towards the defensive ace side than the pop a homer off the bench side. And we saw an interesting way for the Cardinals to utilize this last night in the game against the Rangers. Jimmy Crooks gets a hit. He gets pinch ran for by one of the guys off the bench. And then Pedro Pages comes in as catcher, and you have no confidence loss in your defensive catcher at that point. I think that's a smart way to utilize it. And hopefully Jimmy gets hitting and that kind of scenario is coming up more than not because he ain't a runner.
Yeah.
So
that is such a specific situation though, too, to carry an entire, because your actual backup catcher is Ivan Herrera, right? Like if Jimmy Crooks gets hurt in a game, Herrera, well, if you had your team rostered like a normal team would, Herrera would slide over to catcher and someone else would DH or whatever.
And no, you lose your DH. When that happens.
Do lose your DH. Yeah.
And then the pitcher has to hit.
Which we love that.
Which means you have to pinch hit for that guy.
Yeah.
Which I do think that scenario is probably going to happen one time this season if you don't have Pedro Pages on the team.
Right.
Hopefully it doesn't happen at all. But I agree. I think I would run that risk. I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Also, if you do move on from Pedro Pages, who I believe should be traded to another team, because I think that he is a valuable baseball player for a team that does not have as many catchers as we do. If you come to that scenario, you are telling Jose Fermin that he is now your emergency catcher, and he's figuring that shit out.
Yeah.
That's how that scenario goes.
It was Brendan Donovan forever, and it's not like he was he probably caught in high school or whatever because he was the best player on the team. Right. And the best player on the team played every position. There's a guy on the team right now, is it Fermin or whoever, that will suit up and sit back there and catch, and do his best for 3 innings or whatever, And that's just where it's like, so Pages, unfortunately, just doesn't make sense from a roster construction point on this team right now. But I imagine they'll carry it for a little while just to really confirm, is Crooks the starter? Is he comfortable enough at the major league level? And I think we're all hopeful that he is. And then maybe when the deadline is getting a little bit closer and teams are looking to optimize, and even your backup catcher is a critical role in the playoffs, some team will say, okay, Pages is the right guy for us. Because I do agree. He should
I'll tell you what,
on a team.
I have very high expectations for Jimmy Crooks on the offense and defensive side. I think he's going to be excellent defensively. It's only ever been extremely positive evaluations on that side of the ball. And we'll see where the bat comes along. But my expectations are high. I can't wait to watch him play every day.
Yeah, same. All right, the wrap up, just Church and Urías are hopeful to start rehab assignment soon. So, man, they're going to have some interesting decisions. I don't think we need to talk all about them right now. We've kind of been touching on them this whole episode, but you've got Church, Newt, and Urías all very likely back in the next week to 2 weeks, depending on how these rehab assignments go.
I think the big question is going to be, does Victor Scott keep his job or not? But we'll talk about that when they start coming back.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we are going to talk about the upcoming series, talk a little bit about some league news, and then, of course, play a little game. But before we get to that, we want to remind our listeners that this show is listener supported on patreon.com. Patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. You can find links to all the different tiers of membership. Subscribers at any of the paid levels get access to our private Discord. That is the Birdscord. We talk about it on the show quite regularly. I really think like the future of social media is in sort of closed groups like this, groups of people that you actually want to talk to and spend time with, and not just the vague world of X or Blue Sky or whatever, where you're just sort of posting and hoping people respond and not bots and stuff. And that's what we're building in this little community. It's listeners of the show and some other people from around the podcast community and blog community that are in here. And it's a good place to talk to other Cardinal fans, other baseball fans, catch up on the news. And we're chatting during games. We're basically almost every game, both of us and others are in the Discord, like actively hanging out while the games are going. And it's been a real addition to watching baseball. So if you want to join, patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. Or if you just want to support the show directly, we truly appreciate anyone and everyone that is currently subscribing. If you want another way to help the show, take a couple of minutes to review the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. It's very quick and it actually does help us. And of course, tell your friends, tell your family. Hambone, where else can people find us online?
Yeah, we're on those stupid, outdated social media platforms.
But we don't really post that much. TikTok,
we're terrible at this.
The videos we do, the short, so check us out on that.
I think we're bad at running a podcast generally.
Whatever. You're the one.
Okay. That's cool. We got Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, of course. You can check us out and watch this episode on YouTube if you're one of those people. Got my little kitty in the background again. If you're a cat freak, you freak. You can find all the podcast information, including t-shirts and more, at talkingaboutbirds.com. Of course, you can email us at talkaboutbirds@gmail.com. And as always, you can call us and leave a voicemail or send a text message to 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4737.
848-48-BIRDS. All right. Hambone, the Reds are coming to St. Louis for 3 games. We just saw the Reds.
Yep.
I think maybe the biggest thing since we saw the Reds is that Elly De La Cruz, who is on an MVP pace, is on the IL.
Yeah.
So that is a huge blow to that team. But basically the story of the Reds remains the same. They can, in any game, they can score 100 runs, strike out 100 times, strike someone out 100 times, or give up 100 runs. It's like any game. That is the potential outcome. They are currently last in the Central, but still above 500 because of how the Central is playing. They are 31-19, and they are the only team in the NL Central with a worse run differential than the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah. I think the one other big injury that is different from last time we played them is that Graham Ashcraft, who was having a ridiculous season in the bullpen for them, just got put on the 60-day IL. So they are weakened. They've called up a number of pitchers from AAA. Rhett Lauder has rejoined the rotation, who, by the way, just got kind of knocked around by the Memphis Redbirds. Joshua Baez and crew kind of spanked him around. So it looks like for the Friday game, we're going to have Brady Singer against Kyle Leahy. Saturday, it's going to be Nick Lodolo and Matthew Liberatore, the 2 lefties going at it. And then Sunday, Rhett Lauder, who I just mentioned, against Michael McGreevy. Feel pretty good about our pitching matchups in all 3 of those games. We're missing Chase Burns again, who is a freak of nature. And man, if you have not watched a Chase Burns start, go watch a Chase Burns start. He is damn good at baseball. But yeah, other than that, I think, like you said, it's kind of the same story. They are a boomer bust team who is kind of busting right now, especially with the pitching.
I'm busting
makes me feel good.
Let me tell you something.
Best line of any song ever.
All right. So what was I gonna say? Lodolo.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm a real believer in Lodolo. He missed the first part of the season, haven't quite put it together, but I feel like at any point we're gonna see a Lodolo 12 strikeout game. So keep an eye out for that.
I'm taking Libby over Lodolo all day. If I have to pick National League, weird status lefties starters.
Yeah.
Or National
Very
League
narrow.
Central.
Maybe just those. Yeah, just those 2 guys. I think I'd also take Liberatore right now. I'm just saying, Lodolo has been very, very good at times in his career.
He has.
Yeah. All right. After that, the Cardinals go to New York City for 3. We call it New Dork City. I
call it New Dork Shitty.
New Dork Shitty, baby. The concrete bunghole. They're going to play the Mets for 3 games. I just always want to laugh at the Mets. There's a petition going on now for people to start boycotting Citi Field, which I'm boycotting it this weekend. Hammond, are you boycotting Citi?
I plan on it. Yes.
Yeah. It's so much fun to laugh at the Mets. They are currently in last place in the East, 26-35. They have almost the exact same run differential as your St. Louis Cardinals, so we can't we shouldn't laugh too hard. But they are in last, and they're kind of in crisis mode over there because they have spent $300 million more on their team than the St. Louis Cardinals have.
I was just going to say, not that I really care about this all that much, but the dollar per run is definitely in the favor of the Cardinals right now.
Yeah. So what are the pitching matchups?
Yeah. So looks like for game 1 scheduled, we'll see if this actually happens. But Kodai Senga is supposed to come back from the IL. That was good against our new ace Dustin May. Wednesday game is going to be Freddie Peralta against Andre Palante. And then the Thursday game is Christian Scott against Kyle Leahy. Christian Scott is he's been pitching pretty well for the New York Mets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much to add other than their bullpen hasn't been great. Their rotation has been injured, and is Brett Beatty even a Major League Baseball player? I don't know. I thought Mark Vientos was going to be legit. It doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah.
Juan Soto is healthy and playing well, so that's something to consider and to be mildly afraid of. But outside of that, this team has been underperforming like crazy. And, I mean, Jared Young is their projected DH going into this game, which I think should tell everybody a lot of what they need to know about this team. They're 4-hitter.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're like, oh, they're one of the highest paid team in baseball. And it's like, where is it? Carson Bench, Bo Bichette, Juan Soto, Jared Young, Vientos, Beatty, Simeon, AJ Ewing, Luis Torrens. It's like, all right, obviously Soto and Bichette are what, combined $95 million or whatever.
On their IL right now it's unbelievable. Francisco Alvarez, Jorge Polanco, Francisco Lindor, Ronnie Mauricio, Luis Robert Jr., Tyrone Taylor, Clay Holmes, Tyler McGill, Kodai Senga, who should be back. I mean, that might be the Cardinals' entire team salary just on the IL there.
Probably.
Right
yeah. So yeah, they're fun to laugh at. I am a big believer in AJ Ewing, their young guy they just called up. I think he's going to be pretty good. Carson Bench will also probably be pretty good, though he has struggled. So there's some pieces in here that I think they're developing that could be good in the future, but right now they're not a particularly good team, and I think the Cardinals should play well. But you never know on the road, Citi Field, etc. Although it might be like a home game for the Cardinals right now with the way their fans are feeling.
We'll take it.
Yep. All right, Hambone. So those are the series. Let's do some league news.
All right. Yeah, we can knock through these. Joe Adell, this is my favorite story of the week. Joe Adell pulls a Jose Canseco, misses a fly ball hit by your Colorado Rockies, bounces off of his head and over the fence.
It's so good. Is there any other sport where something like this can happen, where it can go from what should be the best outcome, which is an out, to the absolute worst outcome by bouncing off someone's head? I don't know. Maybe I guess in like football, the ball can bounce around a little bit.
It's like scoring a goal in your own net in hocky or soccer.
Yeah,
but none of them look as stupid as this one looks.
I've probably watched this 24 times in the last 6 hours.
Yeah,
it's so funny. And then, of course, the added wrinkle of the whole thing, which is this is the same guy who robbed 3 home runs in a single game like a month ago.
I didn't think so. He's still -2 right now, which is good.
Yeah. He's saved more home runs than he's given up.
Yeah.
But what a whirlwind of press for this guy. It's how can you not be romantic about baseball?
Yeah.
Watch the clip and you will just think this is the most beautiful sport that there's ever been.
While we're talking about the Rockies for a second, you see TJ Rumfield just won the Rookie of the Month?
No, I did not, but I know he's been hitting.
He's been hitting. I don't buy it, but we'll take it.
Rocktober, baby. Are we on our way?
The Rockies are better this year.
They are.
You can't argue that. We are a better team than we were. All right, the Blue Jays outfielder Jesus Sanchez had to exit a game versus the Orioles after being hit by a ball thrown from the stands by a fan. Did you see this, Nate?
I did see this, but I didn't look into it too much. I saw it happen, but I didn't see what's the injury? Was it just he was just so surprised that he needed to leave the game, or did he actually get hurt from it?
seems like there's a contusion or something going on with his wrist. Essentially, it looked like he waved for the kid to play catch with him. And I guess the kid didn't notice or react quick enough. Jesus Sanchez looked the other way, and the kid threw the ball at him. It hit him, and he had to be taken out of the game, which is, I mean, this guy gets hit by 95-mile-an-hour fastballs on a K. Like, very confused by this. There might be more to it than has been reported or that I've read so far, but I found this to be an odd. I don't think I've ever heard of this happening.
I think he was embarrassed.
It's embarrassing.
Get me out, coach.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little surprised he had to leave the game too.
Yeah. Odd.
Yeah. Did they give the kid a contract?
Yeah, maybe he's Henry Roland Gardner from the Rookie of the Year movie.
Roland Gardner.
Yeah. He broke his arm and then it overhealed. Is how it happened? It healed too good.
Yeah, it fuses a tendon or something, so it like snaps now and yeah. I've been meaning to rewatch the Rookie of the Year and Angels in the Outfield are two like core childhood baseball.
We watch
movies.
those a lot.
Yeah, I have rewatched Sandlot in the recent years, but I haven't rewatched any of those. I wonder how they hold up. I love a Busey film though. You know, Gary Busey, big part of of Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Oh wait, I thought it was Marv from Home Alone.
So Daniel Stern.
They're both in it.
They're both in it.
He's the equipment manager.
Yeah, he gets trapped in between the two doors at a hotel room.
Yes. That's good. That's funny. I think
Busey is the like aging star pitcher. Throws a high stinking cheddar.
Pre-motorcycle accident, Gary Busey.
The worst Busey.
Yeah, sure.
He got better.
All right. MLB proposes a salary cap of $245.3 million and a floor of $171.2 million. Nate, what do you think of this proposed solution by the MLB to the Players Association?
It's very interesting. That floor is much higher than I think a lot of us anticipated it to be.
How I felt about this too. Yeah. Yes.
I've said this before. I think the most interesting thing about this whole upcoming dynamic is that unlike almost all previous CBA, or at least ones in recent memory, it's been very easy as a fan to be on the side of the players. This is going to be a situation where I think most fans are going to side with the owners, who are most fans, right or wrong, want a salary cap. And the Players Association does not, for obvious reasons. Yep. Their job, they're like fiduciarily bound to argue in benefit of the players, and it is clear that the players benefit from no salary cap. That's obvious. But basically everyone else in the world wants a salary cap in baseball. So it'll be really interesting to see how this goes. I think I do think perhaps MLB is recognizing that and throwing a bone to the players by proposing such a high floor.
I think that's the most interesting part, is that floor, like, are the Royals and the A's and Minnesota, basically the entire AL and NL Centrals, Miami, are these teams going to agree to raising the floor of their salary? Also, how do they get around this? Like, are there weird loopholes? Yeah. Like, can you pay your CEO and president $10 million a year and have that added to the cap? You know, like, how is this all going to shake out? I wonder. But I think it is very interesting to see that floor. I also don't understand like the economics of baseball enough to from my point of view, without doing much research or having a deep understanding, that sounds like players would be getting more money because you'd have more teams spending at least $171.2 million. But obviously the players are against this for a reason. If somebody knows the answer to that, can explain it better to me, I'd love to hear that. It
is because it stops the high end. It does lift the floor for a lot of people. And I think on average, I saw something, and I could be wrong here because a lot of these numbers are throwing around right now, but this would increase the average salary for Major League Baseball players by a pretty good margin. But the Players Association is lobbying for everyone, and it would reduce the high end for the high end players, which is what most people want, whether right or wrong. There's arguments for either side of that. I don't think we want to get into that, but like the Players Association wants to argue for everyone, right?
If you're a union, it makes sense to me to want to protect your highest earners and have them continue to set a new bar. But it seems like, a rising tide raises all boats, and getting more money to the people who need it more, the quote unquote lower and middle class MLB players, seems like a bigger win. Because like if you're making, as much money as Dustin May is going to make next year, $45 million a year, is it really important that you get to 55, or is it more important that Carson Benj in his first time through arbitration collects $5 more million or whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
so this is the opening offer. My assumption is that both of these numbers are going to go out from the direction that they are in. So I think that there will be a number that both the teams will agree on. This will end with a salary cap, is my projection. So? Yes. Yeah. The owners want it and are signaling that they will lock out. The players are also signaling that they will walk out. But they're, just like you've been saying, it's a two-way street. There is a number here. And I suspect that it will end up being a ceiling that is much higher than this, that does cap it long-term, but will prevent some of this disparity, just not right now, it'll be like 150 floor, 350 cap or something like that. So you just don't end up with these $300 million differences, $400 million differences that we're heading towards. The Dodgers will still be the Dodgers. The Yankees will still be the Yankees, but at least there will be teams not spending 40 or whatever,
Yeah, I wonder, like, guess. If there was a cap of 245.3 right now, how many teams, and there was no disadvantage of going up to that number, how many teams would actually be up there and how many teams would not? Yeah. All right. Last thing I wanted to mention is that yet again, the Rangers are the only team in MLB not to host a Pride Night. And I just wanted to say happy Pride to everybody.
Yes.
Rangers baseball sucks.
Yeah, fuck the Rangers.
I hope they beat them tonight.
Can you imagine in 2026 still being that guy?
Could I imagine? No.
Yeah.
Am I surprised that team is doing what they're doing? No, I'm not.
Yeah, we give a lot of shit to the ownership groups. We do not give nearly enough shit to the Texas Rangers for the regressive overall nature of their establishment. So, fuck those guys. That's how I feel.
Yep. And there it is. There's some complexities beyond that. Like,
sure.
But we don't need to dive into that right now.
There's a lot of ways you can think about it, but at the end of the day, 29 other teams do it. So by not doing it, it is a clear choice.
Yeah, you look pretty stupid.
Yes. Now you could argue all theme nights are dumb and it's silly that we do this sort of thing, which is.
I mean, being alive is silly. If you know all of it, like this.
I'm willing to listen to an argument that there should be no individual nights for things, but that's not the world that we're in.
Except for Diet Pepsi night, Coke night, or whatever.
Diet Coke night. Yeah, we do.
That's
love
the only one we like.
Yeah, we do love a Diet Coke night.
All right, that's all I got, Nate.
All right, Hambone. I was thinking, even though you and I have been pretty positive still, this episode was overall positive. The opening bit implied that people are having less fun. It's the vibes are hurt right now. So I thought it might be fun to just remember some of our best vibes guys, some of our most fun guys. So we're going to do a little draft. It's called Draft Day Vibes Guys. You and I are going to do a draft of our favorite Cardinals players. I think maybe of the last, however you want to do it. However you want to do it. Of you're building a roster of like the most fun guys. Okay. And we're each going to do 4. Okay.
Okay.
So who are your vibes guys? If you're just, you can think of this as your circle, your what's the you're past the circle. Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Blunt rotation.
Blunt rotation. Thank you. You could kind of call it that, but it's vibes, guys.
Okay.
So, who are you gonna take? And this is a draft.
Yeah.
Okay. So who are you gonna take for your vibes, guys?
Okay. Is it me first?
Yep.
Okay. I think my first overall pick, and this might bring a chaotic and maybe some people won't like the vibe that I'm trying to cultivate in my dream blunt rotation, is I'm going Brendan Ryan for my first overall pick.
I had him on I for sure, Brendan Ryan, classic weirdo.
Yeah.
Right. Classic weirdo. Yeah, if you didn't take him, I was. I don't think he was going to be my number one overall. I kind of thought he might slip through a little bit.
Yeah.
I wonder how many listeners now still remember Brendan Ryan. But defensive specialist got yelled at by Chris Carpenter.
He got in trouble.
Overall, funny guy.
Yeah.
They called him Boog.
Boog, did they?
Yep.
All right.
I'm going to go more recent. He's coming back from the IL. We love to have a good time with him. He's an international superstar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Lars Nootbaar. He's having a good time all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Hanging out with Shohei. If I hang out with Nootbaar,
you are 1 degree away from hanging out with Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, then maybe I'm getting into illegal sports betting, that whole thing,
Wow.
I'm getting into the murkier side, getting into land disputes in Hawaii and all the other shit that Ohtani's getting in on.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That's the
very
vibe.
cool. I like that.
No, Nootbaar's my vibes guy. That's where I'm going. Yeah.
Okay.
Who you got?
My next one is I'm going to go for another person with a crazy maniac energy because I guess that's just what I'm drawn to. But give me Joe Kelly. I want Joe Kelly in my blunt rotation.
Joe Kelly's a good one. That's not who I thought you were going to take.
Total lunatic. But it seems like a fun guy, speaks his mind. I like a lot of what Joe Kelly brings to the table.
I like Joe Kelly too. That's a good pick. I didn't even think about him for some reason. So that's a good pick. There's murals of him sticking his tongue out at someone in all over LA. So
right. What more do you want?
Yeah. All right. Here's who I thought you were going to take. You think you're taking the lunatic?
Oh,
pick.
I know who you're going to pick already. Can I guess it?
Sure.
Tommy Pham.
Yep. Come on down. I need a bit of the Tommy Pham revenge tour coming into my my rotation here. My vibes guy, him and Newt and me. We're having a good time. We're slapping people. We're getting stabbed. We're illegally betting. We're doing fantasy sports. We're doing all the stuff I love to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham. That is good. God, I feel like I need to chill out my vibe a little bit. The guys now do seem fun.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking about Colton Wong.
I thought about Wong.
But and this is going to be mostly just because they really highlight Tyler O'Neill on that Boston Red Sox documentary. And he's just a good old fun Canadian. Yeah. He's doing it for the boys. I feel like me and him could probably drink beers. We could probably go 1-to-1 on that kind of thing. And I think we would have a good time. And he's a Jack Daddy, which we started this episode by talking about how I like that. So
we do like a Jack Daddy.
It's really 2-in-1. So I'm going Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, and you got Mr. Canada in your pocket too if you need him.
That could happen at any time. You never know.
You never know. All right, Tyler O'Neill's a great pick. I'm gonna go similar era. We need. Let me think. With Newt and Tommy Pham and me, we need a good hair in our group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
So I'm bringing along Harrison Bader.
Okay, yeah, he does seem fun. I like Harrison Bader.
I think he'd be a good time. He'd be a good hang. He's got that good hair. He's fast. We're probably gonna have to run. We're gonna be doing some running.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going with Harrison Bader.
You're making a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys that I can pick with this last pick, but I feel urged to go a direction that I know that you're not going to go.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Tyler Green solely because he bought me a shot one time.
Yeah.
And that was super chill. And like we have a relationship, we just pick up like it was old times.
He certainly remembers you and I from that bar 15 years ago at like midnight.
Yeah. I'm sure he was stone cold sober, as were we.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's probably been a while since we've talked about this on the show, but Ben clocked Tyler Green. We were at a bar in Colorado.
We're a bar in Denver.
In January.
That is now closed. We were out here for a bachelor party. I think it was before I even moved out here.
It was.
And it was us, our group, and Tyler Green and his buddy sitting at the bar. And I said, that's Tyler Green. And our friend, who is this kind of guy, walked up. He goes, hey, my buddy knows who you are. And he turns around. And he goes, no, you don't. He goes, who am I? And I go, oh, you're Tyler Green. You're a prospect for the St. Louis Cardinals, blah, blah, blah. And they were, I think, genuinely shocked. I recognized them. And then bought us, our whole group, a round of shots. And we, high-fived and had a drink together and everything.
Stranahan's. It was a nice Colorado whiskey, too.
Yeah.
He used that minor league money to buy us all a shot. It was fun. Yeah, I truly could not believe that you caught. I mean, I was there, too. And I would never have even thought, that guy over there is a... I wouldn't even be paying attention to who else is in the room. I mean, that's just me. But to actually clock them
you are maybe the least observant person I've ever met in my entire life.
Disagree, but I think I'm kind of the Benoit Blanc of the group, but that's fine.
What a stupid reference that was.
Knives out, beaks bloody.
There we go. Now it's good.
All right, Amber, gotta wrap it up. And I think I need. So I got Newt, I got Pham, I got Bader. Yep. I need someone to keep us together. I need someone to drive. I need someone to fund all of this.
Okay. Oh yeah, I don't have a ton of cash in my group.
Yeah. So you know what? And I need a little country music. I'm going Adam Wainwright.
Wow.
I think he'll keep us grounded. I think he'll let the boys be boys, but he'll fly us around in his little private jet that I assume he has. And
yeah, he really gives off the vibe of a private jet type of guy.
I think that he would be, it would be the sort of thing where we'd spend all day having a good time doing a bunch of stuff. And then at the end of the day, he'd be like, you boys go have fun, and he'd
think
slip.
Adam Wainwright's ever smoked weed before?
No, I feel very certain that he never has.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Green blunt rotation. Let's go.
Time to fly.
Time to fly. Oh, he's telling us this whole time. Angel dust.
All right. Well, if you out there have a different vibes guys list, let us know. Find us on the social media or hit us up in the Birdscord. Interested to hear your take on it. And we basically stuck almost exclusively in the last 15 years. So I don't know, Willie McGee. What are your guys from the 90s and before that would maybe
Steve
be...
Klein. Actually, I want Steve Klein, that psycho, on my team. Let's go.
I slapped 5 with Ray Langford last year, so him and I are kind of buds.
Ray Langford, Ray King, couple of Rays on the crew would be good.
Yeah, my dad. My dad's name is Ray. All right.
Blunt rotation.
Yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of Talking About Birds. Thank you all for being here. Check out all the links to everything at talkingaboutbirds.com. We will be back next week, as always, hopefully after a trouncing of the defense. So until next week, go Cards.
Let's go Birds.
Talking about birds, talking about birds, talking about birds, talking about birds.